Now, I must say, though, Triple H is going to have one fantastic entrance at WrestleMania. It's been a while since he's been champion at WrestleMania, so he's going to have a fantastic entrance. If he doesn't, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, he better, because, I mean, the last few entrances he's had has been like he's had the most elaborate, the biggest entrances that out of anybody there. Like the last year with the whole Terminator thing, and then the year before with the what was he supposed to be, like Asgard, or like one of the gods of the Norse gods of mythology or something like that. And he even had Charlotte as one of his harlots or whatever. So yeah,
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, one of the actually, now that I think about it, one of them was Charlotte, and the other one was Sasha Banks, and there was a third one, but I don't know who that one was.
That's weird. But speaking of all that, because we're segueing right into WWE 24, this week was based on WrestleMania, and behind the scenes, what was cool is that you got to see how the Terminator sequence got into play. Triple H coming up in style, and they were like, okay, this is how long you need to wait before stepping down. And then Paige, like, she was an emotional wreck. So, like, you actually start to feel like how happy she was. I almost started tearing up when her and Sting were just talking about, hey, these are the first WrestleManias. There's nothing like it. Sting was freaking out, but really doing a lot for his fans. Like, he signed autographs when they were just waiting outside the hotel room that he had. Paige, they were yelling at her to tell her to walk down the ramp, even though like, she was just starstruck by everything. What was interesting is that they did not show AJ Lee at all, because she was in that match with Paige, but they did not show her at all. They showed the Black Widow, so they showed her butt, but other than that, they didn't show her face. And then you had Seth Rollins and, like, how happy he was to win the belt, and when he finally won it, when he steps in the back, you see him actually having a long, heartful conversation with Vince McMahon, along with Kevin Owens. And at that time, I was like, Kevin Owens is actually part of this? But yeah, I guess they were in talks and everything's going on then. And the one special moment in WWE 24 was Undertaker, right before he stepped out, Brock Lesnar came up and was like, you got this, right? And then slapped him on the chest. Like, they were good old buddies. So, like, I feel like this year with Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, they were good friends going into this, so that's why their matches were spectacular this year. If you don't have a good relationship with someone where you can actually work on your matches, that's why your matches are not the best. They cause injuries, they cause all that. When you have that great relationship, you know how to communicate, you know how to actually perform those stunts properly, and that makes one hell of a match. So WWE 24, emotional ride, good. I recommend it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I'll be sure to watch it, because I haven't got a chance to watch it because I've been watching other stuff, but I will definitely check that out. What's interesting too is because you mentioned how Paige was so emotional. You actually got to see that because that was on the episode of Total Divas, how she was freaking the hell out about going into this match. And now that I'm thinking about it, they never really show AJ Lee that much during that either, but that's usually just because she don't want to be involved with Total Divas, so they usually don't put her in it. But the fact that even in WWE 24, they didn't put her, she wasn't really in it either, even though she was in the matches, is pretty crazy. Just one thing about just WWE 24 and going back to that WrestleMania, because I know that because you were obviously there. That was the birthplace of Suplex City. I know you must have enjoyed that, even though you did. It's funny, you were there, so you didn't know that was probably trending on Twitter for like the whole night after that.
So I knew it was trending because they put it up on the Titantron, like, hey, trending worldwide, and they replayed it. But because of how far I was back, I couldn't really hear him say, Suplex City, bitch. Like, I couldn't hear that. But as soon as it got up on the board, everyone started chanting it. I was like, I'm going with it. And then now you got shirts of it for every city that he goes in. It says Suplex City and then the shirt. Yeah. What a great night.
The other thing about that WrestleMania was I still do not understand Sting's entrance. Like, I wish that was something that they covered on WWE 24 was why did Sting have taiko drums as part of his entrance when nothing of his entrance has anything to do with Japan? And his theme doesn't have taiko drums in it. So why they have taiko drum players playing the drums and it didn't make sense. Like I remember sitting here watching it and being like, this is stupid. I don't get the whole point of that, but I guess they had to do something for Sting and they couldn't think of anything else. So
yeah, that's right. They didn't do anything. They didn't even talk about it. All they did was just like let it be. You just see him like freaking out right before he goes out, and like he was talking to like Hulk Hogan, Hall, all them in their NWO gear. So like you knew that they were prepping that, and you see like John Cena's face like as soon as everyone comes out, he's like, "Holy crap, they're actually doing that!" Yeah, old guys wrestling still.
Yeah,
Heart attacks in the ring.
I thought everybody thought that Kevin Nash blew out his knee again or his quad or whatever the hell he tore.
Scott Hall broke his back when he got back flipped.
Good times. What else we have for WWE Network? The next thing was Ride Along. I don't know if you even watched it.
I watched it. Boring show. The funniest parts were when Dolph and the Miz, like those two are just, I'm sorry, they're boring. Like Dolph's cool, but they were boring. Big E spreading his legs from one end of the car to the other. Xavier Woods and Kofi were like, "What the heck? How are you able to do that?" And they had to help him get his legs out of the windows. That was hilarious. And then when Kofi drops Xavier Woods' PlayStation, woo! I would have been pissed if that.
Yeah. That was. Well, first, as far as Dolph, the funny thing because you mentioned that Dolph Ziggler and Miz was boring, right? Dolph Ziggler is actually a stand-up comic. He does that on his off time, and so the fact that you said that he's boring is kind of funny because he shouldn't be boring. That car ride was actually kind of funny, and normally I don't name drop other people's stuff, but whatever. It's funny because he mentioned that something a comment about whatculture.com, and What Culture actually did a response video to him, which was pretty interesting. But other than that their car ride was boring. New Day's car ride, it was okay. As I figured, they more interacted with the camera, and yeah, when Xavier Woods' PlayStation fell on the ground and all you heard was crack, I was like, ooh, and I felt for him, and especially since he has that's for his gaming YouTube channel. When he was like, F this show, F this show, F this show, he really meant F this show, because if that stuff was broke, he was going to be pissed because he'd have to replace it. Because it's not just, here's the thing, it's not just the PlayStation. It's a PlayStation, and it has a monitor inside of it. So it's like an all-encompassing thing so that he can play his PlayStation, and I think it actually has his I think it might also have his laptop in it so that he can stream, so or record video. So like that thing is his YouTube channel, and if it breaks, I don't blame him for saying F this channel, because Ride Along is whatever. He's in one episode, but he getting paid off of that YouTube channel of his.
With Xavier Woods, like his channel is very popular, right? But he has a crap ton of money. He can get that replaced out the next day. So one way or another, if that stuff broke, I would be pissed because, hey, like that's money spent, but he can afford it.
Yeah, but you lose all your saves. You still.
Oh, it's called the cloud, baby. It's called the cloud.
He might not have uploaded his to the cloud, so
he has to upload his cloud.
Not necessarily, but
anyway.
Overall, yeah, the show was kind of boring. I'll be nicer than you. I'll say that it was a 2.5 out of 5 stars episode. But other than that, yeah, the episode was kind of uneventful. Other than that stuff dropping out. Next up is your favorite topic of the night, Total Divas.
Get the hell out of here! Hurry this section up.
All right, so on Total Divas, the episode basically was after Nikki told John about Dolph hitting on her and telling her that he could give her kids and give her a husband and so on and so forth. And John kind of being like, oh, well, at least you still got it. Continuing from that whole thing, basically the next time they went out for their 3-year anniversary, John told Nikki that when he thinks about it, because he loves her so much, and it's disgusting, but because he loves her so much, he actually would marry her. But the thing that holds him back is the fact that he knows that she wants kids, and that's not something that he can give her. So she's kind of like, well, he actually changed his mind about if he wants to marry me. He said he would, but because he doesn't want to have kids, and he knows that I want to have kids, I may not get married. So that was the thing with them too. And then it came down to Natty telling her, like, because he has so much stuff going on and he's so stretched out over all his endeavors that it'd be hard for him to be able to support having a kid, not financially, but like with his time and his energy and blah, blah, blah. So that was that whole thing. The other thing was Natty feeling left out. I'm surprised, honestly. I'm surprised Natty still has a job, because Natty is probably one of the best women wrestlers that they have, but she's one of the most boring wrestlers that they have. And I don't see it, and it's kind of like they always leave her out of stuff. So like she's feeling left out because of the whole Divas Revolution trademark thing that WWE is doing, and she's feeling left out from it because she wasn't involved in it. But because she's taking care of TJ at home from his neck injury that he suffered, which is probably still the reason why I have not seen any Samoa Joe do the Muscle Buster ever since that. But she's struggling with that whole thing, whatever. And then
he's done it. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt. He has done it. He's done it on a couple shows.
I haven't seen it, but I don't know. Maybe it's like if it's like a smaller star, maybe that's when he does it. But yeah, I haven't seen him do it against Finn Balor or Sami Zayn or anybody the other people that they want to push.
I don't know. We'll find out soon, right?
Yeah, but the other thing was a issue going on between Paige and Alicia Fox, which actually brought up something that I had to go back and watch, because one of the things that Alicia Fox and Paige was having an argument, something inconsequential, and basically what happened was that during SummerSlam, Alicia Fox accused Paige of sandbagging her, which, I mean, you can cut the episode, the match, however you want to cut it to kind of show it that way. But I was actually curious if she did sandbag her. So I went back on WWE Network. I went to that SummerSlam and I rewatched that match to see if I saw it. And she kind of was pretty dead. She didn't completely sandbag her, but there were parts where she didn't really give her anything. So obviously they made up. They're still friends, whoever, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it on Total Divas. That was the main storyline. So yeah, it's boring, but whatever. I still watch it because I like to know what's going on with stuff behind the scenes, even if it's what they want to feed me.
That's your show, man. You love that show.
All right, finally for WWE Network rundown is NXT. So now keep in mind, NXT they recorded all the episodes of NXT all the way up to the week of WrestleMania. So this week's episode of NXT was filmed at the back to back with the next episode, the next episode, the next episode. So you can actually look up the winners of the next few episodes of NXT. But for the purposes of keeping it consistent, I'm gonna still report each episode as it pertains to for each week. Now, if there's a rumor or something later that comes up, I'll put that in the rumor section of this video. But just to recap what happened at NXT, you had American Alpha. I hate that name. It's basically Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. They went up against Blake and Murphy and had a good match. Good mat wrestling skills from Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, which is expected because they both have amateur wrestling backgrounds. They won that match. So, like I said, it was a pretty good match. Blake and Murphy had. Go ahead.
I actually thought that, I don't know, I think it was Murphy hurt himself during the match. When he started screaming, I started freaking out. I'm like, oh God, there goes another person from the rosters. I don't care who it is. They're getting hurt. This sucks.
Yeah,
I started freaking out.
Yeah, I did too, because normally when you have situations where somebody plays like they're hurt, it doesn't last nowhere near that long. And it lasted so long, I'm like, oh crap, he might have tore something in his knee. And then at the last second, you see him like kind of wave to Murphy, to whoever the other guy is, to attack. And I was just kind of like, oh wow, they played that off really good. Like they let it go long enough where you don't think like, oh, it's fake. You actually thought that he hurt himself, and I was like, wow, they actually put this on the episode. I can't believe they didn't edit this out.
Yeah, well, the match itself, the match was a good match, like you said. I like that Blake and Murphy, they have a little bit of sense of personality to them. When they didn't have Alexa Bliss, they were boring and dull. Now with Alexa Bliss, I think that they found ways to utilize her to bring out the actual heels in them. So that was pretty cool. Like, I think she was used as like a bodyguard, or like one of them pushed her into someone. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said, American Alpha, they won that match. The next match was Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan. Of course, it's a squash match. Anytime, unless Nia Jax is fighting against Bayley, she's gonna squash whoever they put. Literally squash whoever they put up against, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened. She squashed Liv Morgan. So whatever. Next up was Alex Riley versus Bull Dempsey. Isn't Alex Riley the guy that used to be like in the back, like doing interviews and stuff like that?
Alex Riley was actually with The Miz when they brought over some NXT people. So he was with The Miz when The Miz won his title back in 2012, I think it was. He was actually with The Miz.
Oh, he was the one that came out there with The Miz when he had that awesome thing set up on WrestleMania, right?
Yep, that was him. And so, but Alex Riley, like, I loved his promo after the match, after he won. He was like, everyone's getting hurt. Everyone's talking about when this person's coming back, but what about me? Like, I think he was actually really speaking right there. I don't think he was actually scripted, because of the fact that I feel that Alex Riley now can be someone that they can actually push in NXT. Like, he's got the look now. He's kind of got the Vince McMahon look to him. He got bigger. He looks stronger. He has a bad attitude. His hair is trying to copy AJ Styles. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's going to go far. It's just going to be a matter of when and how well he can actually talk on the mic and get the heat on him. But Alex Riley, I'm glad he's back. He actually got me excited for this NXT event.
Well, I mean, I never really followed Alex Riley, so that's why I was like, isn't the guy that used to do the Brexit? Yeah, but that's usually what happens, is that the people that have that gimmick that works is the ones that take stuff. They always say it. You take stuff from like your real life, and especially when it comes to heels, when you're pissed off about something and you are actually expressing it in your promos, it works. Stone Cold. The whole reason why Stone Cold worked was because he was pissed off about the fact that he was still pissed off about the fact that he got fired from WCW, and he carried that all the way from WCW to ECW to WWE. And when they actually let him talk and not be the stupid ringmaster, he took that anger and that's when he cut that Austin 316 and sent him a bottle of Thunderbird and that whole thing at the King of the Ring. So yeah, you have to carry over your if you're a heel, you basically take that anger and frustration that you have from like stuff that's going on, and you carry it over, and it works. The next match was Elias Sampson versus John Skyler. The Drifter won. The only thing I have to say about Elias Sampson is like, okay, I like his gimmick, kind of. I don't like his finisher. His finisher is a swinging neck breaker. That's it. And I don't care how fast you want to say that he's doing it, how intensely he's doing it. It's a swinging neck breaker. He needs a new move because that move is pathetic. Like that's not a finisher. That's you do that in the middle of a match and then you go for a cover and they kick out at one. Did you see his move or whatever?
I saw the move, and Elias, I told you at the NXT Live event in Chicago, like I really liked him. His gimmick is pretty cool. He kind of reminds me of a darker Chris, or not Chris Jericho, Jeff Jarrett. He reminds me of a darker version of him, and his move, because he's so new, I think they just had to give him something, kind of just like with what's his name?
Apollo Crews.
Thank you, Apollo Crews. He had a backflip finisher that, come on, that was a retarded finisher for him, stupid finisher. And so I'm glad that Triple H told him to change it, and I think that's what's going to happen with Elias, is that as he's working, he's going to see what he's capable of, and you're going to see him get a better finisher. Just give him time; he'll grow on you. Unlike Baron Corbin.
Well, that actually leads us into the last match of the night, which was Baron Corbin versus Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn in a triple threat match. The winner goes on to face Finn Balor for the belt. The match ended in a double submission when Sami Zayn. I don't know if I've ever seen Sami Zayn do a sharpshooter, but I mean he's from Canada, and that's everybody from Canada does a sharpshooter. But Sami Zayn had Baron Corbin in a sharpshooter, and out of nowhere, Samoa Joe puts Baron Corbin in a cripple crossface. Yes, I'm calling it a cripple crossface because that's what it is. And Baron Corbin taps. So now, because he tapped to both moves, they're kind of going back and forth on who the actual winner is. And Regal comes out, talks to the ref, and he's like, "We're gonna have to go and review it." And they go in the back, and that's basically how it ends. I mean, obviously the match was good. I mean, of course you're gonna get a good match with Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, and anything that Baron Corbin can't do, they'll help him with it. So you knew you were gonna get a good match. But what did you think of the ending?
God, I hated that ending. I was like, this is really it? Like, I look down, and 1 second I look up, it's already over. Like, there's nothing on my screen. I'm like, what just happened? Why is this so stupid? I felt like I was watching The Sopranos all over again. But Baron Corbin, I knew he wasn't going to win. Like, and obviously I found out the ending of NXT because I found out spoilers of what's going to happen at NXT in Dallas. But the funny thing is that he used the crippler crossface. He's going to get fined or something. You're not supposed to use that move anymore. That's why Daniel Bryan got fired a long time ago. And so I don't know how he used it. Why? Like, I get why he used it because, hey, you have double submission on Baron Corbin. Yay, cool. But I feel like if he's going to get fined for doing that, hey, let him do it as many times as he wants if he gets paid for it, but don't do it at all then. You don't want to remember Chris Benoit? Then make sure that you're really strict on it. You won't let people do pile drivers. Like, I think it's not a bad move. It's just they want to cut Chris Benoit out when he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He was one of my favorites, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He is never going to sniff the Hall of Fame. He can't even sniff their website.
Yeah, he's on the WWE Network if you want to watch WrestleMania 20. Great triple threat main event.
That's because they can't scrub him out of everything. But that doesn't mean they can take him off the website, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Actually, to be honest, no, go ahead.
Or that you can watch my favorite SummerSlam where Randy Orton beat him for this first title match.
I don't even remember that.
I think it was 2004.
Yeah. As far as my opinion on how the match ended, um, I didn't really have too much of a problem with it because I get where they're trying, how they're trying to set up the next match. So they had to do something because they had to do something to take Baron Corbin out of the equation, but at the same time have Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn have a match. So and you can't, and because it's a triple threat match, there's no disqualification, there's no count out. So you can't do anything with that. So I figured they had to do something, and that's what they came up with. So I didn't have too much of a problem with that at all. And just so that people know, I know I'm cutting a little bit, saying this a little bit early because I would normally save this for next week. But just so people know, basically what they're going to end up doing is they're going to have a 2 out of 3 falls match between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. That's how they're going to resolve that. I'm not going to say what happens or who won. I'll say because I'm just going to kind of lead into the next topic and spoilers for what's coming up at NXT TakeOver. But I kind of get why they wanted to do it, and if it turns into a good match between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, which it probably will be, then I'm all for
it. I think that Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn is an epic classic match. Now, what's going to happen in the future? Obviously, we already know that, but Sami Zayn is already getting called up. He's been in the Royal Rumble. He hurt himself on Raw. I think that he's getting into this match so then they can draw numbers. They can get popularity from him. And Samoa Joe brings out the best in everyone in all of his matches. Like, you see him previously in TNA, you see him previously in New Japan. Like, you see all those guys. Samoa Joe does that. My only concern is with the rumor that we just had, is the title match at NXT just going to be a waste?